Good morning and welcome back to Julie, keeper of my home. So we've gotten the raised beds built. Now we're going to look at how everything looks. And I want to start here at the beginning of the garden. A new entrance in the garden. I love it. My husband and I, with the help of our nephew, cut some trees and we cemented them in and built this beautiful arbor here to the entrance of the garden. We love it. We have some grapes that they're still pretty little, but they'll be climbing up over, and I mean, what an amazing entrance to your garden. We just love this place. So let's go inside. Everything is growing so well. It's really much more than we could have ever hoped for, and what's better than that? We did fill the garden beds with composting material on the bottom. Up quite a ways, we filled pretty good. I should have shown some when we were at the finishing point, when we had finished filling the composting material, and then to show you how much, and then we put the soil on, but you get the idea. It was probably 5 or 6 inches, except in the smaller beds. But I know that while I was planting some of the vegetables, I would run into some of the twigs and pieces of composting material that we had put on the bottom. So I know that over time that's all going to compost down and feed the soil really nicely, and we love that idea. I do keep this floor cloth, this landscaping cloth, ground cloth, whatever you want to call it, which I have it linked below in the description. I do keep it swept off normally. I don't have it swept off today, but we've been having a lot of rain the last few days, and today is the first really sunny day, and it's still early morning, and I figured I would come out here while it's early enough and not raining to show you this beautiful garden. But I do want to say, you're both loving this ground cloth. I mean, it cleans the area around here where it's very clean. It's kept really nice and neat. The mud washes off when it rains. We don't have to worry about weeds in here. I'm not mowing in between beds. I'm not weed whacking anywhere. I love it. We do mow around it, and that has not been a chore at all. I just go right around it. I will say, when we were doing the beds, one thing, I don't know if you could notice or not, there was one clip where you could see a little bit. When we put these two beds, added these two beds, what we did was we went a little bit further with the cloth than we thought we were going to do. We were kind of had a little spacing issue in this area, so we did move them that way a little bit and put more ground cloth down. That was an easy fix, and honestly I think we'll be putting it around the diameter of the garden as well and kind of widening it out. I think at some point we may add more boxes, because we're just loving how these turned out. I mean, truly loving how they turned out. So I think we are going to add more. But for now, at least this year, we're just going to enjoy what we have. And I will say that each area in between the beds, we made them all so that the wheelbarrow fits nicely in between all of these. I can run it up through here, up through here. That's actually, we use the wheelbarrow to fill these ones with soil, and our son did the outside ones with his bucket. But the wheelbarrow fits in nicely, so we did plan for all of those things. So if you want to make raised beds or raised bed garden, you want to make sure that you're planning space enough to walk through or to put your wheelbarrow through, because you are going to want to collect these vegetables. You're going to want to fill the boxes with soil and different things, so it is going to require you having a wheelbarrow through here. Sometimes when I'm getting a little lazy, I do have this here. I keep my trowel in it, see it lifts up, and it's on wheels, so I can just sit on that and weed the garden. It makes it really nice. We do have a hose that runs out here, so we can fill our watering cans. The hose, it reaches some of the beds, but not all of the beds. The ones back here, it does not reach, so we do fill the watering cans for that. But other than that, I mean, this has been a great garden. This has been a really great garden this year. I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled. I hope it does just as well next year, but time will tell. I'm still waiting for everything to climb. I just want that visual. I just love it. My favorite part of the entire garden. Look at this squash. These are Buttercup Squash, and they're starting to climb. Some of them are going in the wrong direction, and they may need to get a little help from me coming back over this way. I don't know. But everything is growing so nice. I'm loving this. I can't wait for them to climb a little higher. On the opposite side of the trellis as the squash, we have cucumbers. And as you can see, they're finding their way up here as well. I just love that they can wrap their little tentacles, their little antennas, whatever they are, wrap them around here and just find their way. I love that, and I cannot wait to see the vegetables growing in a vertical state. I mean, you can just come in here and pick the vegetables. It's going to make it so much easier. I can't wait, and I am going to show you that when it comes time. And just look at all of this calendulum. I need to pick them and dry them, but I've enjoyed them so much I haven't been picking them. We've mixed a lot of things in. You can see there's some onions in here and more cucumbers. Some of them are getting ready to try and hang on to the calendulum. Oh, I just love to watch a garden grow. I mean, this is just splendid. Look at all of this. Isn't this wonderful? Our beans we had a little struggle with at the beginning. All our seeds, all but maybe 5, didn't produce. We just struggled with them, so we went back to the drawing board and decided to soak them first and then replant, and that seemed to do the trick. Look at this little guy. He's growing way above the rest. We've started getting some blossoms and some little flowers on some of them, as you can see in here. I can't wait to get beans. Some are yellow, some are green. I don't know the names of them, but they're all going to be canned up and put into our pantry. And this over here, this stuff, this is summer savory. I'm going to dry this and put it in jars and save it to add to soups, stews, chickens. It'll be really, really good. This is our little guardian. He's been keeping the crows out for us, and he works really, really well. We just come out here and move him around. Every time we're out in the garden, he gets moved to a new spot. Whether we're out here 3 times a day or just once a day, he moves. And this is Hilda. Well, that's what our grandchildren have called her. She just kind of hangs over the garden. She's beautiful. She's been in our garden for a number of years now. I cannot wait to taste these. They're going to be so good. We've planted some early on and some a little later. These are the ones that we planted earlier, and those will be canned and used as whole beets. The smaller ones that we have just planted will be used for the greens. And I have carrots in almost every bed, not on purpose, but I did plant some in some of the beds, and I think the wind planted them in the other beds. We have quite a few onions. I've never been able to grow successfully a really nice onion. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. We've done both from onion sets, and we've done them from the onion slip. So they're all mixed in together. The onion slips aren't very big right now. They're pretty small. The onion bulbs, well, I don't know. Some are big and some aren't. The yellow seem to be doing better than the red. You can see we've got some more carrots hidden amongst the summer squash. I love how everything grows together. We have some blossoms in here, just starting to form. And if you look really close, you can see some summer squash forming. They're not very big, but they're forming. And I am so excited. I thought that these were climbing, so we put them on either side of the trellis. This on one side and the zucchini on the other. Apparently some kinds do climb and some don't. These are not the climbing kind, but that's okay. They still get big enough so that you can kind of see them up around the trellis, and I love that. This is the zucchini. And inside here, hidden away, are some new squash. We didn't plant those too long ago. When I found out that we didn't have the climbing zucchini, I did plant these, and they are being shaded a bit, but I'm hoping they'll climb their way out of there and go up over the arbor. We do have some little zucchini in here. And I gotta tell you, I saw on Instagram last week, I believe, somebody had posted a little saying on there about zucchini. Have you ever heard the saying, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Well, this one was for a woman gardener. And I think you can see some of those in there. If you teach a woman to garden, the whole neighborhood eats zucchini. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Look at all those blossoms in there. I do have some baby zucchini forming. I don't know which side they're on. I think they're on the other side. I can kind of see some way in there. Look how huge these leaves are. Look at them. This is my hand, and that's the leaf. And then we have some dill. I want to do some pickles, so I did plant some dill. And this is just an example of some rogue carrots. They made their way into this bed. You can see I did not plant them there. And then we have some beet greens that we're growing. These ones I put in late. I knew that I was going to just use them for greens. They're kind of scattered all through this bed, actually. These are Rutabagas. They've taken forever to grow. I had not realized that they were so slow, but they are a fall crop. They like to go into the fall, and they're sweeter when the frost hits them, so I guess they can take their time. It's only mid-July. And then we have some more beets here and some more rogue carrots. And these are marigolds. I do have marigolds in almost every bed, or nasturtiums, or calendulums, or a combination of both. They're really good to companion plant with a lot of your vegetables because they help keep the bad insects away. This is parsnips. Have you ever grown parsnips? You keep them in all winter and you dig them out in the spring. They are so good. They're a white carrot, sort of, kind of, but they don't taste like a carrot. We put them in soups and roasts. stews. They're really, really delicious. They add a lot of really nice flavor. These are green peppers, tomatoes, and basil. Now my basil, it was off to a really rough start in the beginning, but it's doing really well. And again, there's a few marigolds in here, and a rogue carrot. Yes, they're everywhere, like I said. These tomatoes are Romas. You can see they're all blossoming out. We started all of our tomatoes from seed. These are actually seeds started from a store-bought tomato. When I finished off the tomato, I saved the seeds and we planted them. Our peppers had a little bit of a struggle. Not all of them made it. A few of them died. More died than lived. But we do have 2 plants, and we're hoping that that'll, well, I mean, it's going to have to be enough. We don't have any more than that. And again, you can see my basil. And where some of our tomatoes or pepper plants didn't make it, I planted some purple basil, and I do love basil. I snap off the leaves, then roll them up and slice them and put them in our salads. They're so good. If you've never tried them that way, they are so good. We have a little wind thing here that helps to keep the birds away. Anything that moves, the birds are not going to go near. And look at this. We have little tomatoes. I'm so excited. These are Best Boy tomatoes, I believe. And I think I've got 4 of them in this bunch. Some of ours didn't make it, so these are what we have left. And I wanted a lot of tomatoes. We use quite a few of them. We use them in soups and different dishes, and I love them. I don't like to freeze them. I like them canned, and they're so pretty. Down here we have cabbage. Look at these cabbage. We'd started to get a few cabbage moths. They were eating. We noticed them sitting on there and eating one day, so we did have to spray those. But hopefully we've nipped that. I have some bare spots here that I put beets in, so we'll have more greens there. And I believe there's spinach in there as well. We used up quite a bit of the radish, so I'm filling in the places where I pulled them. This is romaine lettuce. We use a ton of lettuce. We are always having salads at least twice a day. And this is Buttercrunch lettuce. Love, love, love the Buttercrunch lettuce. It has become my husband's favorite. We're definitely going to plant it again next year. And again, this is a little bit of a bald spot. There's a few things growing in here. Of course, a rogue carrot, some spinach, and we pulled some radish. Finished those off, so that's why there's a little bit of a bare spot. More cabbage. We didn't think we had enough, so we planted more, and so that's why it's a little further behind than the rest. Over here we have some collard greens. We have canned some of those already, so we don't have many of those left. Onions, red romaine. Like I said, we do eat a lot of lettuce. I've planted some more things over here. Probably beets, I'm gonna say. I can't remember. I've got more things to plant in there. Probably spinach. So I use that in smoothies. We have our onions. You can see here along the summer squash, I have more marigolds. They kind of go all along here. I love them. They'll be so pretty when they blossom out. And this is arugula and Swiss chard, rainbow chard, and turnip greens, which we've processed quite a few of those already. And kale. We love kale. It tastes so good in salads and smoothies, soups, just fried up with bacon. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I use it like I would spinach. So if you've never eaten it, tried it, you need to. It's so good. This is some type of I don't know, some type of a curly leaf kale. I'm not sure the name of it. It's like a purple kale. And then this is Dinosaur Kale. And down here, right in there, you can see those are radish. Still have a few left. And just look at these peas. They're climbing beauties. Our grandkids love peas. They love to be able to come in here and just pick food right off the vine. They love it. And I love that they do that because I think that, or I hope that it'll encourage them to grow their own food someday. They've been in this process from the beginning, so I'm hoping that we've inspired them to garden someday. I love that they know where their food comes from, and that's important to me. Look at these beautiful blossoms. You can see down here, let's see if I can find them. Can you see that? That is actually marjoram. I have some marjoram planted. There's some more here. I don't know why I put it in with the peas. I guess that I was told that it's really good for the peas. Oh, of course we have a rogue carrot in here as well. See that marjoram right over there. Cucumbers. We don't have a trellis for them to climb up right now, but that is something that my husband and I are going to do. We need to do it fairly soon. We were kind of waiting for them to get developed enough to start climbing. So now that they are, we are going to get that done. This little guy is a Nasturtium. I thought he died, but he's coming back, and I'm so glad because I love nasturtiums. All the flowers in here are edible. There's another nasturtium right there. And these are some lagging cucumbers. They didn't come the first time, so we had to replant, and they are coming now. Look how beautiful this is. I just love these. We have carrots scattered and about in here. More cabbage. And we're back around to our squash. This is our Buttercup Squash. Look at all the blossoms on these. This is our favorite, our absolute favorite. So we're hoping to get lots and lots of squash from these plants. I know they say not to plant them so close together, but we did. They can fight it out on their own. Hopefully the bees will find them and pollinate, and we'll get a good crop. I have a nice marigold starting. We have some cucumbers that are starting to climb. I can't wait to eat these. These ones are English cucumbers. The other ones I showed you are pickling cucumbers. And we have a few stray carrots and some radish. Looks like we've got some that may have bolted. See the flowers on them. We've been eating radish like crazy. We eat them in our salads. We roast them. They're delicious. Onions. Lots of carrots. I'm hoping for lots of carrots. I just put them everywhere because I really wanted a lot of carrots. And I didn't have one dedicated bed for them. More beets. And these will all be canned. So we're not going to eat them too awfully young. I do eat the ones that we thin out though. We do put those in salads or cook those. If you haven't noticed, you can see the soil. The top of the soil is a little bit rocky. Those rocks have all come to the surface of the soil. Like I said in the last video, this isn't great soil, but it is good soil. And we did mix it and you know, fix the pH of it and everything so that we knew we were going to be able to grow the vegetables that we wanted to grow and that they would thrive well in this soil. This right here is a little doohickey that we put in here to keep the birds away because we didn't want them getting our seed or poking at our vegetables, and it seems to work. I mean, it gets fetched up on itself, but other than that, it seems to work. I hope you're enjoying this tour. I want to show you, we do have other things here in this garden. We do have our fruit trees, we have aronia bushes, and we have blueberries and raspberries. Our apple trees, we also have pear trees too. I can't forget, we have pear trees. We did prune those back this year, and we actually have one tree that's producing some apples, so we're really excited about that. We've only had them, I think this is our third summer, and we've been told it takes probably 3 to 5 years, more so for the pears than the apples, but I think next year we'll have more apples and maybe a pear or two. Do you recognize this spot? Yep, this is the beanhole bean spot. We found this at an antique store and I just had to get it. It is perfect here, and we actually said that we could put a fire underneath and actually hang some of our cast iron pots and do some cooking here. So I think that would be great. That might have to be another video. Maybe on my other channel though, Mimi's Pantry, because that's where I do most of my cooking now. I had also mentioned in my last video that I'm growing Birdhouse Gourds. These are in our potager garden, so they're not in our main garden. But just look at these. This is the first time I've ever grown them. I've tried before, but I've never gotten anything from them when I've tried. So I did order seeds from an heirloom seed company, and they're really growing. I can't believe it. And I love that we have these. They're still blossomed. They blossom at night because they're hard-skinned, and but they're still blossomed right now because it's really early in the morning. So I'm glad that I got to show you this. And you can see some of these are, well, I have pumpkins in with these, and I actually found a tomato in there too. I have a tomato growing. Can you see that? There's a little tomato in there, and I have them covered right now with some mesh because a neighborhood cat is thinking this is a great litter box, so I've had to cover them. There's that tomato right there. I don't remember putting it in there, but there's one in the other one as well, so who knows? I must have been looking for a home for tomatoes. I know that our main garden was full, but we did have some that didn't make it, and I could have transplanted these, but that's okay. They're fine where they're at. Okay, so let's look at these flowers. You can see this is a male blossom, by the way that it's cup-shaped, and let me find a female for you. The female is a little bit, it's got like, you can see where the gourd is forming on the bottom of it. It's not cup formed. There it is right there. There's one. I believe we counted 9 of them total. So I am just so thrilled, beyond thrilled. And they're climbing up the cattle panel. This is the cutoffs from the cattle panel that was in the garden that we'd made the arbors with. These are just the cutoffs, and we ran them from one tote to another tote, and they're just climbing up in a big arch. How many of you are wondering about the outhouse? I did show you that we were starting an outhouse in the very beginning of part 1 of the series. our builder that was doing the outhouse got a new job. Building things was not his main job. It was just kind of a side hobby thing that he would do. If somebody called him and they needed him, he would either take the job or he wouldn't. Whatever time he had, he would use towards that as his job that he had would permit. Well, since he's taken his new job, which he works for DigSafe, so that would be for the state, and as you know, in the summer, they're pretty busy. So he wasn't able to finish the outhouse for us. So what you saw in part 1, and I'll show you again here, I'll put a little clip up, that's as far as he got. So we had to finish the rest of it. My husband and I are not builders. I think I've said that. But, like I said, if there is a project that I think is doable, even if I feel it might be too hard, I don't know if it's going to be too hard until I've tried and tackled it. So we figured 2 heads are better than 1. We could do this together. We work well together, believe it or not. So we tackled this project, the 2 of us, and we had a little problems along the way trying to figure out the door, mostly. But I think we succeeded in doing a pretty good outhouse. So let me show you that. Here it is, the outhouse. We love it. I mean, didn't come out half bad. I know you didn't get to see the inside really. If you follow me on Instagram, which you need to, Julie, Keeper of My Home, but I'm also on there on my other channel, Mimi's Pantry. It's Mimi's_Pantry. So follow me there as well. But I did post pictures of it on there, and I didn't get the inside. So this will be its debut, I guess. But I do want to show you the outside. The door, like I said, that was the worst part. As you can see, it didn't come out half bad. I mean, really, we struggled with it. We were worried we wouldn't have enough wood, and we did get some wood. We've let it set out and age, and that was key to a lot of this. My brother had given us the wood for the entire thing, all the wood that you see on the outside of it. That is all pieces of barn wood that were taken from a barn that was being torn down, and he was gifted the wood, and he then gifted it to us. We did use the scraps to make a little flower box on the side. My husband really wanted to have a flower box on the side. I think we did pretty good doing that too. I mean, I'd never really made a flower box before, so it came out nice. And look at this moon. I cut that out myself. Yes, I am so proud of myself. I do have a few skills in cutting wood, but not a lot. You can see up here, we have an old lantern. This was my husband's lantern when he was a little boy. So we had to hang that up here. I think it looks perfect. On the other side of the outhouse, we have a garden angel. She looks so pretty hanging there. I just wanted something on all sides. There's a little path going into the woods here, so it was kind of nice to have something on this side. Now let's look at the inside. I do keep some soil in here because I've got some plants that I want to pot up. And I keep water in here for our flowers so that I don't have to run back and forth to the hose. So we are a little ways from the house. And as you can see, yes, we do have toilet paper, and I'll explain why. We didn't actually want an outhouse that was usable. but we did want it to look like it was usable. And turns out this is usable. We didn't want to dig a hole in the ground. This is all just scrap wood found here. We just had a bunch in our garage, and that's what we used for the bottom of it. These are just scrap pieces of wood here, and again, this is scrap wood from when we built our house. Most of this is all scrap from building the house, the 2x4s and different pieces. The pot in there is just a chamber pot, and it's on a little cleat-like thing. It just slides in. My husband and I did it that way because we thought that would be the best way to make it look functional, and it turns out it actually is, because 2 of our granddaughters have used this a couple of times. One of them, who is not fully trained yet, loves this. So we're thinking that maybe this is the key to getting her trained. I don't know. But hey, so far it's working and she loves it. So that's why the toilet paper is out here. My sister gave us this behind the house and down the lane. And this just is a cute little picture. It's perfect, really, for our outhouse, and we love that she gifted us this. So that is your sneak peek of the inside of the outhouse. We just really, really are so pleased with it. The roof is metal. It was some leftover metal that we had here. So we just, you know, most all the pieces in here are just left over. So that made it really cost efficient to build this. And we have a little latch for when you're inside. And we made the little latch for the outside here, a little turnbuckle. And I will tell you that the door sits outside. The wood is thicker than, the wood on the door is a little bit thicker than the wood on the outside of the outhouse. So that's why we added this little piece underneath, just to pull this out a little bit more so that it would fit on the door better, to close the door. We put little strap hinges on here, and I mean, they're working out pretty good. It looks really nice. And you know, the best part, see the roof kind of goes over a little bit. The best part of this is that we have a lot of ledge around here. And I knew years ago, I really wanted to have an outhouse. My husband and I both did. And when we were scouting this property to build our home, I saw this spot back here and knew immediately this is where the outhouse is going to go, because it has a natural step. You have that step and you literally step up to this step, and it's just a flat piece of ledge that sits here. So I mean, this was the perfect spot to put the outhouse. I love it. We did put ground cloth here. You can see it goes right underneath because I didn't want weeds growing up through the floor of the outhouse, and I also did not want any creepy snakes or anything going up in there. I don't know, maybe they still will. I don't know. In the middle of covering it with some stuff, mulch, I haven't finished covering it. I still need some more. We did put a piece of fencing back here, and this is an old bench that belonged to my father-in-law that he graciously let us use for this purpose, which I think it looks great here. It's something that's been on the farm forever and ever and ever, and one of our granddaughters thought that this little birdhouse had a perfect spot right here, so we left it there. Like I said, I still need to fill this with mulch. The ground here is very, very ledgy, so I can't really put much in the ground as far as flowers go. I just can't dig deep enough. Everything is like really right on the surface. So I chose to put the ground cloth down and put mulch, and I'll just do potted plants throughout here. I did leave one area out here in the back a little bit open. You can see where it's a little bit like this. I am going to try and plant a lilac tree there. I don't know if I'm going to be successful or not, but lilacs are pretty good at growing most places, and I think that's a spot that has a little less ledge than over on the other side. So I don't know, we're gonna try it. But for now, that is the outhouse. We are very happy with it. I think it looks great here. We can see it from our screen porch. I love it. You can see it from the road. It just looks so real. I mean, it kind of is, right? So there you have it, a tour of our vegetable garden and our outhouse. Thank you for joining me here. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do that below. And make sure you hit that notification button because you don't want to miss out on anything new I upload. And until next time.